What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek, and I'm back rolling solo for Week 17 for the Geek's Vegas Lines, NFL breakdowns, and daily fantasy football analysis show. We're going to skip the betting line angles portion, and we're really going to focus this week on which teams have what to play for, who's motivated for what. I think that's a big key to Week 17. It's been a big, important part of Week 17 every single year. We just have to know where the landmines are. Now, there are some very, very obvious situations that we can discuss. And, just a brief breakdown of it. You have your teams with no motivation at all. I'm going to talk about this with each game breakdown, but I want to start us off with it as well, so you have the right idea just going in. The least motivated teams, and when we say least motivated for Week 17, I'm talking about teams that specifically have motivation to rest players because they've made the playoffs and they can't advance. You have the Ravens. They're the number 1 seed. They're done. Starters will rest. You could see right here on this chart, I'm showing on the screen how the game spread has changed and the game total has changed as sort of the information has come out. These guys aren't going to be playing, not going to care. Another team that's very important to be aware of are the Texans. They have basically no real reason to play. You got the Bill O'Brien fake news talking about we're going to play to win bullshit. Fuck you, you liar. Liar. Fucking lying. Half of the Texans team is banged up. Deshaun Watson hasn't been right. All these guys are bruises. Hopkins is beat up. Fuller's always hurt. There's no way these guys should be playing in this game. They have nothing to play for. Watson hobbling. Come on, Bill. Fucking liar. Fucking liar. Not playing for anything. The Bills can't advance. 5th seed. No reason to play their starters. No reason to risk injury. John Brown's banged up. Cole Beasley's old. Josh Allen could always use more work, but whatever. We don't trust it. Another team is the Vikings. Locked it up. They lost. They're going to be the 6th seed. They can't go any worse than that. Win, lose. They can't get any better. They can't get any worse. They're locked into the 6th seed. Do you think the Vikings, who fucking rest their guys, even if they get a scratch or anything, they're worried about the playoffs, they're going to play their starters? Man, hell no. Team's been hurt. No starters. Now, if they play their starters, they'll pull them. They're a risk. Here's the thing. Even these teams that lie and say that, we're going to play to win the game, understand, if there's even a hint of somebody getting hurt, a limp, anything, an old guy, he's limping around, there's a lot of risk there. So we're going to be aware of that. We're going to talk about that for every single game. That's the important stuff to know for Week 17. I love Week 17 because we can get an edge on the field a little bit just by being very, very strongly aware of these scenarios. And that's what we're going to focus on. Okay, in my notes this week, I just want to point out here before I get a couple of housekeeping things. Where are we? In my cheat sheet this week, I put a little section up top here called Slate Notes where I kind of cover which teams have what to play for. So I wanted to put that in writing to go back and reference, not just for you guys, but for myself if I was writing up the notes in terms of which teams have what to play for, which teams have no motivation, so I can keep going back to it. Because as you're making lineups, all of a sudden your brain forgets, oh, wait. Yeah, I don't want to use the players from this team. I don't want to. So I've got it kind of written up here. We've got these playoff teams. There's 3 types of teams. There's really 4 types of teams that we're looking at. You have playoff teams that have no possibility to advance. They're the most likely to rest their starters. Then you have playoff teams that have a reason to advance, but it could be, for example, cut out at some point. It could be where if a team wins earlier in the day, then they don't, we have to look at those scenarios where most of them are not that way. Most of them will be playing the full game. Some of them don't have a lot of motivation, but a little bit, a long shot. I think those teams will all play to advanced position unless the game starts to get out of hand and they'll say, you know what, fuck it. We don't need to play to win. We see the other team is winning, with this assumption, like the Patriots are going to lose to the Miami and that's the only way. Like, come on. There are some far-fetched scenarios where you might say, fuck it. If somebody gets hurt. So there are extra risk in those situations. Then you have teams who haven't made the playoffs, and they're going to fall into two categories as well. The teams that haven't made the playoffs that have young players is, let's play our guys. No reason to rest them. Then you have teams that haven't made the playoffs that have older veterans who are banged up, and then they might say, I don't need to have this guy out here the whole time. And we'll talk about those situations as well. I'm thinking in my mind of Julio Jones, who's always questionable, and the Falcons don't have anything to play for. Will they keep him out there? You got old people. I don't know. There's risk. Old quarterback. There's no point in having those guys out there. So they might play out the game. We don't know that they won't, but those are situations we're monitoring. We'll talk about them in the breakdowns, and then you'll make decisions. I don't want to take too many chances with players from those type of games. This is a great week, though. It's a great week because if we pay very close attention to this stuff, we can get an edge on people who are just clicking names that they're familiar with. So there's a lot of that going on. There's some interesting milestone situations going on. Christian McCaffrey has that happening, where he can break some records for the most yardage from scrimmage. He needs 200 yards. It's not out of the question. But you have his coach talking about we want to get him these milestones. Oh, I don't think he's lying. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Now, before I get into the breakdowns, we're going to jump in it game by game. I want to show you guys something, and this is just where are we? Optimal Tracker. This is just a little something I want to show. A lot of guys, you're here for the NFL product. Watch the show. We play NFL. We love it. I just want. This is just so good that I want to show it to you guys because a lot of people just haven't. Well, I want to play NBA. I don't know how to get into it. It's hard. I don't know the players. This is our optimal tracker for NBA. Now, NBA is a much more projections focused sport. And I wish I'd monitored the optimals for NFL to see how that works too. I just didn't. But we track it for NBA because it's very projection heavy, and 67% win rate in cash games. It's tracked every day with the links to each contest. 67%. These are NBA optimals, DFS Army NBA optimals for much of the season. We started a couple weeks into November, right as soon as NBA started heating up. The first couple weeks are kind of a little. We just weren't tracking it. It's a little chaotic. Started 67% win rate. So you've been here this whole time, and the NBA optimal tracker is going 67%. On FanDuel, DraftKings, it's at a still awesome 60%, considering we don't allow for late swaps in this tracking. So just check it out. If you want to stick around, if you're an NFL person, but you want to check out more sports, you need to check out NBA. It's awesome. And our projections are literally second to no one. Our tools are the best in the industry. You could be printing cash doing this. I don't know what more to say. Our optimals are you hit refresh projections 5 minutes before lock, and you just optimize, play it in cash games. What we like to do is do little pivots off of the optimal as well. That's how you get your hybrid entries. The optimal's rarely going to win a tournament. That's not what it's designed to do, but a couple little switches here and there, core play here and there, enter that into tournaments. So that's my approach to NBA. Kind of keep it very projection oriented, make a few swaps in here or there. It's not a hard sport to play. I can't wait to be able to really get into it after the NFL season ends because I don't give up my DFS. Got to keep going. During NFL season, my focus is always football. So I'll just, mess around with these, but definitely check it out. You're here anyway. You're doing your thing. Definitely check it out. All right, let's go back to the game by game breakdown for the Geeks Vegas lines. And what we do on the show is we look at the line for each game, analyze it, try to figure out what it's telling us and which players are good in that particular game. So I wish I had more screens available here. But as I'm doing this, I'm keeping my notes up on all the various games and what is important for each team, if they're likely to be playing with motivation and what that motivation might be. So let's start with the Steelers-Ravens game. You've got a 37.5 point, very low game total. It's been coming down. Ravens have already announced starters going to sit. Everybody's hurt. They've got a nice long break for their guys. They'll come back super healthy. Steelers, not a healthy team in general. They don't have a lot going on. Offensively, we can just take a look at this specific game here. Where are we? And you'll see a lot of, what is this? Yeah, a lot of injuries on the Pittsburgh side. Mason Rudolph out. Devlin Hodges will be back at the quarterback position. He's very, very bad. I think Juju Smith-Schuster will be back. There's nothing I want in there. Actually, I'm not even going to talk about it. This game is just not interesting. Some people are going to say, hey, should I play Robert Griffin? RG Thrizzles is going to be out there. I'm leaning no. But, he's 5K. He's RG3. He could run around a little bit. He'll be motivated because, he doesn't get to play that much. So, I guess not somebody I'm going to. But, I won't stop you if you want to do it. I just don't think the Ravens give a fuck. They might bring in a third string guy. I don't know. I don't even know if RG3 will get all the snaps. You don't know. It's not my thing. Not what I'm doing. Not what I'm doing. That's it. So next up, I'm just not playing this game. I don't want it. That's one of those games. Week 17. Let's let the other people fuck around with games like that. This is my point. Let the other people fuck around with a game like this. I don't want it. Jets, Bills. Bills, nothing to play for. Jets on the road at the Bills. Bills going to rest starters? Probably. This is another one. Game total, horrible. Where are we? Game total, horrible and coming down. 36 points. Who's going to... The Bills say they're going to play. Come on. Maybe they will, but how long until they sit these guys? And then the Jets... And the Bills' defense is still pretty good, and the Jets on the road. Yeah, could Darnold have a good game? I guess. You know something? No thanks. Pass. The whole game. No. All right, Panthers. See how we do this? Week 17 is interesting. More games on the main slate than ever, but less to pay attention to. We just wiped these two games out. I don't want them. No Steelers, Ravens. No Jet. Uncheck. I unfriend you. No. Next up, we've got the Saints and the Panthers. Now we've got a game with a couple teams with things to play for. So let's pay attention to this one. First of all, what do we know about the Panthers? They can't stop the run defensively. They have no reason to rest or sit anybody. They're looking at their young guys. They got the young QB in there, Greer. They're going to roll him out there. He's a fucking disaster zone, but they're going to roll him out there. He's terrible. Terrible. On the Panther side, Christian McCaffrey is going for a bunch of records. The big one being 216 more yards from scrimmage to get the yards from scrimmage record, take it back from CJ2K. The coach has said we are going to feed him the rock and try to get him that record. I believe him. Because what the fuck else are they doing? Might as well. So they're going to try to feed Christian McCaffrey. So even in I would say a bad matchup against the Saints. Saints' run defense is very good. They're going to try to feed the beast. So we could pay attention on that side. On the flip side, the Saints have every reason to need to win this game. They have the possibility of getting a bye week. They have an outside shot at the number 1 overall seed. It's very, very important for them to win. Number 1 seed if San Francisco loses. Number 2 seed with a win and a Green Bay loss. So there's also a chance with a win that they don't get shit. But they have to go all out. Peyton was said, "Oh, you're going to rest." Sean Payton was asked, "Are you going to rest starters?" According to Ian Rappaport, he said, "No. I don't think they're going to rest starters. Not because he's like trying to keep the winning thing going on. It's because they should win this game and try to get the bye. There's a chance, not a good chance, but there's a chance. So they're going to play it out. Saints are massive favorites. This game really does favor the running game. Alvin Kamara broke out for the Saints finally last week with a bunch of touchdowns, a couple of touchdowns. But let's be clear on what happened with Alvin Kamara last week. Same volume as usual, just happened to get in the end zone. Nothing different. from any other week. Same thing. It's nice that the seal was broken. We all know what happens when you're drinking at a party and you're holding it, and then you break the seal, and all of a sudden you're holding it for hours, and then you break the seal, and all of a sudden you're in the bathroom 5 times in an hour. Kamara broke the proverbial touchdown seal, and maybe he'll get a bunch more because, the seal is broken, baby. Let's do this. But the matchup is very good for the run game. I actually don't think it's a good matchup for Lats Murray as well. So, that's a little bit of a thing, whatever you want to make of it. Michael Thomas is a beast every single week. At some point, I don't know what more to say. I had somebody tell me the other day, I'm at my Christmas party. And one of my family members, who's a DFS Army subscriber, and subscriber, he's a regular, he said to me, "Oh man, I never play Michael Thomas. I don't like paying up." So what the fuck are you doing? What can I do more than tell you to, what? Why? Are you crazy? Guy scores 30 points every single week. What do you mean you're not playing him? He's got that Q tag. It's not the best matchup. It's road Michael Thomas, but what? You're proud that you haven't played? Look, 44, 16, ever since we went core week 5. Okay, 17, 25, 30, 31, 33. So one dud. Everybody knows the rules. One dud. It's going to happen. Of course, that was a single game contest, of course. 33, 34, 33. So play this guy. Keep playing him. All right, but beyond that, yeah, it's pretty much the Michael Thomas show. You could play Cook, you could play Drew Brees on that side of the game. Christian McCaffrey's probably the only interesting piece on the other side. DJ Moore is out, or I don't know if he's out. He should be out. I don't know if that's official. Questionable. So we'll see. We'll see if he plays. Concussion, not practicing. I think he's going to be out, which brings Curtis Samuel a little bit into the mix here. But again, I'm not super excited about the throwing game for Carolina. But if Curtis Samuel's going to be the only guy and he's 4,900, I'll go for that. He hasn't had a good game like this year, pretty much. But better late than never. With no DJ Moore, he could wind up peppered with targets. I think most of the action is going to go to Christian McCaffrey, maybe the tight end. But again, I'm not super excited about the Panthers side of this game. The side that interests me is the Saints and maybe some Christian McCaffrey. Browns, Bengals, looks like a stinker. If it looks like a stinker, it probably is a stinker. I don't like anything to do with this game. I guess if you want to take one last shot on the Browns, neither team has anything to play for. Neither team has anything to rest anyone for. There's just not a whole lot of interest here. The game total is low. There aren't special pieces in this game that really excite me. Tyler Boyd had the breakout last week. That was expected, and now he's priced up. It's not interesting. Landry, Beckham, both with the Q tags. They're veterans. Threat of being sad or arrested late in the game. And there's so many reasons here just to say, you know what, fuck this shit. We saw an unmotivated stomach issues Joe Mixon last week. Really, really kind of disappoint. I guess we can go back to Mixon if they're going to ride him again. Mixon's disappointment. It could have been just really illness related. 2.4 yards per carry. He got the 21 touches. 2.4 yards per carry against the Dolphins. That's why you fucked up my lineups? Because you couldn't run against the fucking Dolphins? That's why you had the shits? Dude, I had the shits. I fucking did Geek Vegas line and pulled it off. What's happened? I remember Mark Schlereth shit himself and pissed himself on the offensive line. He tells a story. Stink. Mark Schlereth from ESPN. Kept playing. That's what I call a real man. I get the shits during the Vegas Lines live podcast where we're doing this. Bro, you never know. I just power through it. You never know. Anyway, rant off. Fuck this game. I'm not playing anybody from this game. This is not the game that interests me with the shitty ass total and the shitty ass teams and the shitty ass fucking players. And they're not even terrible defenses. Fuck that. Right? Geeks Vegas Lines people are getting a little taste of my solo Players Club pod today, baby. This is what you normally see. That's what happens when there's no one else to keep me in check. Talking about the shits. Talking about fuck this team. Fuck that team. Trying to make some money. That's not where you're going to make any money. All right. Cowboys, Redskins, 45.5 point total. Cowboys, 10-point favorites, 10.5-point favorites. Already? Okay. So here's the deal with this game. There is some interest. Now, on the Redskins side, Terry McLaurin might be out. That will lead my man, my savior. It's appropriate this time of year in this season to talk about the savior. And the savior of my lineups last week was none other than Steve Sims Jr. Now, why was he the savior? Because the Domination Station was jamming this dude into my lineups like a boss. And I'm like, who the fuck is Steve Sims Sr., Jr., Steve Sims Jr., not to be confused with Steve Smith Sr. It's a different guy. And I'm like, who the fuck is Steven Sims Jr.? And why is he in 70% of my lineups? Okay, and I'm like, I'm not taking no 70% Steven Sims Jr. I don't even know who this guy is. Never heard of him. Next thing I know, I'm checking out his. I'm like, oh, this dude got 11 targets the other day. Well, that's pretty nice. And oh, Dom Station fucking DFS Army projections. Thanks, Keg. Fucking projections are jamming some dude in my lineups. I don't even know who he is. So I, of course, stupidly, I said, well, you know what? I'm building a lot of Danny Dimes lineups anyway. So I'm going to just kind of keep this guy contained to the game stacks that I'm building around this game. Well, fast forward to the end of the slate, this dude had 25.3 points. All of those Danny Douche-time lineups were in like the top 100 of the tournament I was in. And this guy who the Dom was giving me 70% exposure to was like 2% owned in the tournament. So Steven Sims Jr., we got to keep an eye on him because the Redskins might not have Terry McLaurin. And if they do, he's going to be potentially hobbled. He's hurt. It's game time decision. We don't know. I'm not going to know. Questionable game time decision. Again, team with nothing to play for. Now, you're asking about motivation in this game. Washington's motivation is they're trying to keep their division rival from making the playoffs. Everybody hates the Cowboys. Everybody hates the Cowboys. Everybody hates the Cowboys. And everybody wants to see them not make the playoffs. That is what, if you don't think the Redskins players want to be the spoiler, you're crazy. This is their Super Bowl. This is the Redskins Super Bowl. They want to stop the Cowboys from making the playoffs. Now, they probably won't. Cowboys probably, they might not make the playoffs anyway, but I don't think the Redskins can do it, but they want to. All right, now here's the deal with the Cowboys. This is a spot where, okay, let's look at the Redskins' last couple of opponents, and let's remember what just happened. First, it was the Eagles. I don't remember what happened with the Packers. So the Eagles. Miles Sanders put up like 36 points against this team. Then it was the Giants. Saquon Barkley put up like 50 points against these guys. Now Zeke Elliott gets his turn. At home. In the Dome. Zeke. At home in the Dome. Against a team that's been bleeding points to running backs. To make matters worse or more interesting, Dak's shoulder thing has continued into this week. He's once again, remember all of last week he didn't practice. I'm just going to fucking play. What happened? He went out and he played like shit. No accuracy, no ability to hit receivers. He was just off, right? Now he's got the same shoulder thing going on. He's not practicing right now. I was like, well, he played already. He's got to be better. No. And they say he might not practice again all week. So the shoulder issue for Zach is more, for Dak Prescott, is more legit than we thought. Originally, I was like, fuck this. I'm loading up on Dak. I want Cooper. I want to go right back to it. Amari Geek, you told us to play Amari Cooper last week. You fucking suck at DFS. Why do we listen to you? You're the worst. He got 12 targets. I didn't know that Dak's fucked up shoulder would compromise or eliminate his ability to accurately deliver the football to his pass catchers. I didn't know that. So, yes, I had a lot of Amari Cooper because I thought the spot was spectacular for him, and I stand by that. Just didn't know that Dak would suck. That's why we game stack. Contain the damage on risky players to those game stacks. So if you had Dak in your lineup, you were dead anyway. It didn't matter that you played Cooper and he didn't do well. It didn't matter because Dak didn't do well. You were dead anyway. This is how you contain the fallout from the nuclear chalk explosion. That's how it's done. Game stack it, team stack it, build your lineups around quarterback, QB, wide receiver combinations. That way, if the quarterback is shit and he blows it, yeah, so what? Yeah, I wasn't winning anyway. So I'm glad that all of his pass catchers were in that lineup with him because I wasn't winning anyway. That's what happened last week. So same risk here. I'll still go back to Dak in tournaments. Can't be played safely in cash. Same with Cooper. Go back to him in tournaments. Can't be played safely in cash games. The best scenario for Cooper and Dak to at least be forcing is A, if he's practicing before the week is over and actually throwing footballs. It's Thursday now, as far as I know, has a practice. And B, if the Redskins can score, which brings us back to Steven Sims Jr. or any of the other ne'er-do-wells on that team. I don't know any other players on the Redskins. I don't know any of the other names. I don't know them. Adrian Peterson? Okay. I'll accept it. All right. Next game on the docket. The Packers. Minus 13. This is a good game, guys. Not for reasons. Minus 13. Taking on the Lions. At the Lions. In the Dome. 72 degrees. No wind. Beautiful tarp. Perfect football conditions on a December day. 13-point favorites. The Packers have all kinds of shit to play for here. The Lions are out of it, but they have young players. They're going to roll them out there. They're going to see what they have, etc., etc. The Packers need this win. They can get the number 1 seed. They can lock in a bye with a win. There's all kinds of reasons why the Packers need to win this game. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I fucking love anytime a team is taking on the Lions because they're so bad defensively that, you'll probably see numbers like 32, 31 and points allowed per game by the Lions. It's a great team to target offenses against, and they're particularly bad against running backs. Yeah, wide receiver, everything. They're bad against everything. But here's the one that's interesting. Jamal Williams got a Q tag. Might not play. Didn't practice yesterday. Got a shoulder problem. Even if he plays, do you want to roll the guy out with the shoulder issues, or do you want to roll the stud out who is carrying your team on his back? A touchdown scoring machine. A guy who on 13 carries and no targets can get you 20 points and has been doing that. But what if you give him a full workload with no Jamal Williams? So Aaron Jones without Jamal Williams, if Jamal Williams is out, if he doesn't play, is, for me, the number 1 play on the slate. Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, blah, blah, blah. He would be the top play on the slate across the board. The matchup is spectacular. The Vegas line screams, play the running back. Even with Jamal Williams, I think Aaron Jones is one of the top plays. Without Jamal Williams, it's all in, lock it button, don't worry about it. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of value this week to allow us to pay for a bunch of these high-end running backs, but he's one of the guys we want. Of course, I don't really see a lot of path to wanting to load up on Aaron Rodgers here. I think the sharpest way for the Packers to attack the Lions is via the run. But Devontae Adams, always in play. Rodgers to Adams, always a good play. I don't know if I want to come back from the Lions. Lions are just a disaster show. But, I mean, Kenny Galladay's out there. His salary has come down quite a bit, and he does get a lot of looks. So he's at home. I could see if the Lions are making a game of it, it's going to be throwing to this guy. He's coming off a 12-target affair. He's had pretty good performances, even with the blow in there. Even with the blow. So Aaron Jones, core play, and potential all-in lock button if Jamal Williams is actually out. Here's another game with meaning for one team and no meaning for another. And I talked about these two teams I talked about the Texans in the opening monologue. Okay? The Texans have nothing to play for here, guys. Nothing. Their guys are all banged up. Deshaun Watson is always banged up. Will Fuller is always banged up. DeAndre Hopkins got that Q tag, follows him around, usually plays. So they got all kinds of shit going on. This is a team that needs a break. Could use a week off. Bill O'Brien, we're playing to win. I'm Bill O'Brien. Either you're a fucking moron or you're a fucking liar. One of the two. Which one is it? I don't actually know. He could be a fucking moron. Maybe he's a liar. I don't know. What I do know is the Titans have something to play for here. They need to win to get in. Okay? And let me get my little cheat sheet here. Texans, where are you? Tennessee, not Texans, Tennessee. They win and they're in. If they lose, I don't know. But win and they're in. So they're going all out. And the last time these two teams faced off, I like this situation. I'm getting excited. So you have a Texans team unmotivated, nothing to play for, should, though haven't announced it, should rest their starters, versus a Titans team that absolutely needs to win. They control their own destiny. What's the spread? Titans only -3.5 at home. So Vegas believes Bill O'Brien. They're like, yeah, they're going to play their guys. Why? Because the Titans about neutral with the Texans in terms of team skill, and they're only 3.5 point. Oh, wait a minute. This must be a road game. Got to be a road game. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. So I misread that real quick. The road game. So normally the Texans would be 3-point favorites. And actually now let's redo that. Back it up. I misread that. So this is good. This is why it's a live show. It's a road game. In a normal situation, the Texans would be probably 3.5-point favorites at home. Maybe 4. If I had Statsational on the show, he could help me. But he thought that doing Christmas things with his family is more important. I get it. Family first for some people. Not for me. I'm here with my real family, my DFS Army family. DFS Army family first. That's what I always say. Don't tell my wife and kids that. I'm kidding. You guys got to take a joke, man. All right. So what happens here? Vegas is calculating that the backups are going to get in here at some point. So they're not believing the liar, Bill O'Brien. Because if the Texans were actually going to play their guys, then they would be favored by 4 points if they had a reason to play. Clearly they don't. They're home. They're underdogs. The Titans are road favorites. Titans are going to go all out. All right, now that we've said that, Henry, last time these two teams played, Texans, here we go. It was the last game he played. 21 carries, 86 yards, didn't score a touchdown. We see what happens with Derrick Henry when he doesn't score a touchdown and cross 100 yards. He doesn't do shit. So keep that in mind. Salary is up massively, and essentially he is borderline unplayable for me at 8K. On DraftKings, it's very difficult to play a guy at 8K. Remember, we need 24 fantasy points. We need 24 fantasy points for cash value, 3x at 8K, 816.24. We need 24 points for cash value. In order for him to get the cash value, he's got to cross 100 yards, get the bonus, that's 13, get the touchdown, that's 19, and then get another 40 to 50 yards. So he basically needs 150 yards and a touchdown just to hit cash value at 8,100. That could totally happen here. With an unmotivated Texas team, who's going to want to tackle Derrick Henry? Okay, that's the worst guy coming at you when you don't give a fuck. So it could totally happen here. And he could score 2 touchdowns, 100%. But I don't like to count on that for my cash game, like for where I need to lock it in. That's a tournament play. I think he can get to 30. He'd get 2 touchdowns. But the other thing I might say is just bet the 2 touchdown prop. If you think he can get there, you probably get plus 500 odds or plus 400 odds. Just 4 extra money on that. Now, you might say, normally I'd be looking up that prop right now, but this is a live show and I can't do it. But if one of you guys wants to look on the DraftKings Sportsbook or the FanDuel Sportsbook or any fucking sportsbook and tell me what the prop is for Derrick Henry 2 touchdowns, I'm curious to know what that number is. Because if you're expecting him to make value at 8,100, that pretty much means he needs to score 2 touchdowns because he's not catching 6 passes and getting 50 yards receiving. The 5 or 6 passes that another running back gets, plus those receiving yards, remember, that's 10 fantasy points. Henry has to make that up with an extra touchdown and 40 yards. So, like, if I'm comparing him to Aaron Jones, Jones will get the 5 or 6 receptions, the 7 receptions. He'll get the 60, 70 yards. That's already a touchdown and 70 yards. So then he scores an actual touchdown. That's the difference. What else is going on in this game? Tennessee. A.J. Brown could not be stopped the first time these two teams met. 13 targets, 8 receptions, 28 fantasy points. They threw to him like crazy. The lesson was Houston didn't have an answer for Brown. Again, now they're resting certain guys and all of this. Brown should go bananas here. So I like Tannehill. I like Brown. I like Henry. I like the mix. Jonnu Smith is in the mix as well. I don't know if the Texans will keep this thing competitive. I don't know how long they'll play Deshaun Watson, if they play him at all. It's now Thursday. What the hell is this? I don't even know what that is. Who's Gabriel Ramirez? How is Streamlabs making comments? I don't know what just happened. That's all. Gabriel, did you just subscribe to the channel and scream at? Did this thing just say thank you? This technology is awesome. I don't even know what's going on. Sorry, I got distracted by the comment section. But it was a reminder. Hold on. Let me put up my banner. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. And by the way, you saw in the opening, if you want to get access to an optimizer, of course, all of our NFL shit, but now if you haven't signed up for NFL, DFS Army, you're watching this live stream, and you haven't signed up for DFS Army as a VIP subscriber the whole NFL season after watching these videos, you're probably not signing up now for the playoffs for football. But, NBA season. It's our best sport. It's not even our best sport. They're all our best sport. NBA, NFL, niche sports. Golf is coming back next week. NASCAR is coming back in a few weeks. We don't play games around here. All right. A.J. Brown. That's it. Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith, maybe one of these secondary guys, but Texans show they didn't have an answer for A.J. Brown. Okay. Back to the live odds screen. Colts at the Jaguars. 43.5 point game total. Very bad. Very low. Colts, 4-point home favorites. Doesn't tell me much. I don't want to get it wrong. Colts are eliminated. Nothing to play for. Hilton has been hurt most of the year. Risky. Cheeto Mac, hurt. Kind of not looking too good for him long term. He's very hurt all the time kind of guy. One-dimensional running back. We'll talk about him on the... we have some thoughts. Sez and I have some thoughts on Mac and what's going to be with this Colts running game that we'll do in our New Year's way too early NFL fantasy football 2020 draft discussion show. Look for that here on the channel. Remember to like and subscribe. You'll get access to that. We're fantasy football's year round for me all year. But Colts have nothing to play for. Jags have nothing to play for. Technically, they have reason to lose. Jags have young players. They'll have them out there. The one guy I'm concerned about is Leonard Fournette. He's been worked really hard this year. He's got a Q tag on him. He's not practicing. So, it makes him risky. The reality is I actually would have liked to have played Fournette if this was like a normal week and it was just like this matchup. Okay. He's a little priced down. I would be fine with it. But I don't like the Q tag in the last week of the season. I don't like the neck injury situation, the ability of the team to just say, YOLO, let's shut him down. He's had a tough year. He's been worked to the bone. It's fine. They've got Minshew out there, the young guy. He's going to want to show off and see what he can do. And Jaguars trying to make decisions about what they're going to do at the quarterback position. So, little sketch. This whole game is probably best left off your board. I don't think either team has any reason to sort of rest anyone, except for, like I said, with the Colts, I could see a little bit of that veteran, Hilton's been hurt. Let's just not force them out there. Or maybe they will. Maybe they'll beast, but I'm not trying to take chances with it. Just getting away from it. The Jaguars, it's just not a good matchup. It's just not a good one. Stay away from this one. I'm not touching this game. Nothing interests me here. Okay, Chargers, Chiefs. Chargers eliminated. Chiefs need win. There is some, when I say need to win, they can improve their playoff positioning. It's not likely that they're going to get a bye. There's risk with the Chiefs. Just if they go down a little bit, that they might just rest guys. There is risk here. And I've already seen people throwing KC game stacks and team stacks at me. Thank you guys for hammering me with screenshots to look at all the time. And I don't know if I'm excited about it. He's got motivation. There's reason for them to play. There's reason to believe they'll play out this game. But, proceed with caution is what I would say there. Chargers have no reason to play. They're eliminated from the playoffs. They're also quite a veteran team. So that gives me pause. That gives me concern. That gives me some reason to kind of think and worry and concern myself. It gives me reason to concern myself, right? I don't know. Nothing about the Chargers interests me. In general, you would like their running game. You'd like the pieces. You like the Austin Ecklers, the Melvin Gordons in this matchup. But they're massive underdogs. So do I want to play Melvin Gordon as a 13-point road underdog? Chiefs defense has been excellent. Excellent at home. Excellent. Where is this game? They've been excellent at home. Better than you think. Better than you think. So I'm not excited to play the Chargers here. They could rest their guys. They could, veterans and Phillip Rivers. He's on the road. Is this his last game? I don't think so. I guess he'll be back next year. Old guys. You've got Keenan Allen, he's old. Hunter Henry, he's injured this year. There's all kinds of reasons why, if I'm the Chargers, I kind of don't give too much of a fuck here. They come out to play, but, I guess Melvin Gordon, I'd run him to the bone because he's gone after this year anyway. No reason to rest him or give him a break. And Austin Eckler, too. I mean, he's been great. He's been healthy. They have a whole offseason. No worries here. I have player guys. I think the Chargers probably come out and play their guys. But you never know when a team like this is let's see what we have in these young guys. And all of a sudden, a backup quarterback comes out, some backup wide receivers. That could happen. I don't like it. The Chiefs side, the player that interests me the most is actually the running back for the Chiefs. They do want to win. You've got, what the hell's his name? Damian Williams. Pretty much potentially in a workhorse role here, in a good spot at home, heavy favorite. We have to watch Lesean McCoy if he's active or not for this game. We already know that Spencer Ware is gone from the team, injured, done, had his run, couple of weeks, very good stuff. It was nice knowing you. And they don't have a whole lot else going on at the running back position. I believe one of the other running backs. Hold on, let's get the info up here. Yeah, the other Williams, Darrell, is on IR. You've got Spencer Ware on IR. You've got Darwin Thompson and Lesean McCoy as your sort of backup running backs. Now, Darwin Thompson, okay, got a couple carries, got a couple last week, so he's in the mix a little bit, little in the mix. But only saw the field for 6 snaps. It was mostly Spencer Ware. Lesean McCoy, healthy scratch last week. Let's see what happens with him this week. This is the key. If McCoy is out, then I hate to say it, but Damian Williams becomes one of my favorite running back plays. There's no salary relief on the slate. So this is one of those spots where we're going to get some salary relief. And if McCoy plays, I still like Damian Williams, but just not as much. Let's keep it going. Live odds screen. Bears, Vikings. This is a stinker. To end all stinkers. Just going to say that. Vikings, nothing to play for. Talked about it at the open. They will not play their starters. Nobody, if they do, the coach should be fired. Team has too many injuries. And Thielen, they're always hurt. Somebody's hurt all the time. Alexander Madison, hurt. Boone will not go down in the annals of fantasy football history as the guy who carried teams to championships. No. Boone will go down in the garbage heap of failed dreams and hopes. Didn't work out. That's a shame. Cousins remains a player who cannot be played in primetime. He's a fucking choker. Eventually that he's going to get over it. But right now, that stays with him after last week's performance. Now they're in 6th. No, can't move. Can't do better. Can't do worse. Resting all their guys. What a stinker. Bears. No. Just no. Even with all of that, the Vikings are still favored. That's how badly Vegas sees the Bears. The Vikings have no reason to play. No reason to play anybody. The game total is 37. What is happening? These are shit. Don't play it. Dolphins, Vikings, Dolphins, Patriots. Let's make this quick. Don't play anybody from the Dolphins. No, nobody. I don't even need to look at the players. The Patriots, I'm interested in. Patriots defense. They need this win. They have motivation. First, second, bye week. All that shit is on the line. They need this win. They're at home. They're going to smash the Dolphins, play Patriots defense, and I'm trying to pair it with the running back, the guy that stands out, and I haven't mentioned him in 10 weeks because he's been dead to me, but the guy that stands out is Sony Michel. Because if I'm the Patriots, I'm just fucking smashing the Dolphins with Sony Michel, throw a couple tutties, have a nice time, have a nice day, have the defense do some damage. Let's not make this a Ryan Fitzpatrick, magic affair. Fitzpatrick not going to do well against elite cornerback play, against elite coverage. He throws it there. He's assuming that the corner isn't there. He doesn't even really look. And in this case, Gilmore, we're talking about the second best to the best corners in the league on this team. So Turnovers, running backs for the Patriots. Nothing for the Dolphins. Edelman, sure. N'Keal Harry, Mohamed Sanu, okay. But the guy I'm really interested in is running back. I think they'll go through the running back play. Yeah, the Patriots will always fuck us on running back, so it can never be a cash play. Never. They will. All of a sudden, it's going to be James White smashed up the middle for 23 carries. They'll do that. They'll do dumb shit. Sony is a murderer of lineups. Kills me every week, too. I'm with you, Tony Campbell. Kanger with Mike Thomas. Yeah, I'm aware he didn't practice, got a hand issue. I don't think it's going to be a thing, but obviously we're going to watch that with Mike Thomas. Got a hand issue. But they're motivated to win. They need to win the game. So if they need Mike Thomas, it's going to be out there. Yeah, Tony Burkhead did what he did on very low volume. But yes, Burkhead is the ultimate spoiler. He does it on low volume. It's like 8 touches. He's not out. He didn't replace Sony Michel. Sony Michel got 21 carries. Burkhead, though, of course, gets the. Yeah, it's just the Patriots. You fuck with their running backs, you get the horns. You fuck with the bull, you get the horns. That's the Patriots running backs. Now that said, Michel gets like 20 carries a week, and the Patriots started busting out with a fullback on some of his plays last week, and that's really what they need to do. Just hard-nosed, smash-mouth football. This Dolphins team, they don't want to play. Their defense on the road, last game of the year, they don't want to play. So you start throwing a guy like Michel out there at them. As soon as they're down, here's how it's going to go. Let me paint how it's going to go down. As soon as the Dolphins are down by 2 touchdowns, they realize that offensively they have no hope against this killer Patriot defense. The defense is scoring. They're giving the Patriots the ball in great field position. At some point, they're going to quit. And then a bruiser like Sony Michel should come in the fourth quarter and run for 100 yards in a quarter and a touchdown or 2. That's the kind of shit that Derrick Henry used to do back in the day when the Titans were leading and playing strong defense, which is why I like the combo of the running back and the defense, because that's really how it all comes together. The team just quits. By the end, it's cold. It's the last game of the season. It's fucking cold out. We had a good year. We tried our best. We're down 21-0. Are we really going to be out here playing our toughest? Now, the question is, do the Patriots keep rolling out, Sony Michel at that point for the fourth quarter when they're up by 21? Or do they say, let's bring in some other guy? So that's the risk in those situations. But, again, you want to play the Russian roulette of Patriot running backs. I do think this game favors them, and it's just too good of a spot. And I think Sony Michel should finally get a fucking touchdown. I mean, it's about time. Get a fucking touchdown already. What the hell are you doing? You're a touchdown and yardage back that's not getting touchdowns. That's not good. All right, let's keep going. Eagles, Giants, 44.5 point total, 4.5 point spread. Eagles must win. Have no weapons on offense. Nothing. No one's left. Ertz, hurt, rib, not practicing. Probably going to try to play. I bet he will play, but as a decoy, we saw what happened when he came back last week. Wasn't good. No wide receivers. Greg Ward. Miles Sanders has been doing really well for the Eagles, so that's the guy that we want to focus on. Dallas Goedert, probably the best play at tight end this week overall. Again, Eagles need this win. Howard, questionable, could come back. Coach is saying it doesn't matter. Sanders is our guy. He's been doing great. He's our guy. 26 points, 38, 10, 21. Remember these games? Remember it? So Sanders is our guy. Barkley's been looking good. Not the best matchup. For the Giants, now I mentioned, of course, I said Ward. That's it. They got nobody else. Pass catching passes. Arcega Whiteside. I'm a bunch of fucking nothings. I don't know. Ward, what did he do last week? This was the guy, one of our pay down options. Did okay. 5 targets. Not as many targets as you'd like. 11 points. Didn't kill you for the 4,200. Got you 3x cash value. Now, on the Giant side, it's very interesting because with Slayton not practicing right now, limited. Let's see what happens with him. 20% snap share last week. Didn't do anything. Got hurt. Now he's trying to get back to the game. But what that does is it opens things up for Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate, baby. 11 targets last week. He seemed to benefit the most from Slayton being out. Now, we want to play Jones, Danny Douche-Dimes, last chance this season. The Giants are going to go all in. Like, what do they have? They got a young quarterback. So there's no reason for them to do anything but, give their guy more experience. Slayton, Tate, yeah. Eagles can't stop the pass. This is the guy. I like this game. I like Jones, Douche-Dimes, as I like to call him, and his pass catchers. And now with fewer names to have to worry about, that's a positive for me. Kaden Smith at tight end. Okay. Set up game stacks here, guys. Goddard. This is a good game for game stacking. Caden Smitty. Evan Ingram's out. Smith had 8 targets left, 21 points. Who the fuck is Dane Smith? I don't know. Just a guy that scored 21. Now, the Eagles are really good against tight ends, which pushes the passes back out to the outside wide receivers. So the top guys are going to be Tate and Sterling. Let's not overthink it. Douche-Dimes, Tate or Sterling or Tate, 1 and 2, or Barkley. Come back with Sanders / Goddard, 1 or the 2. You can game stack around it pretty easy. It's a tight pool of players. So I like this one. I like this game. It's a good game. This is basically the Players Club. We're doing some in-depth here, guys. This is what we normally do on Saturday. But because I've got no one else here to keep me in check, talking about these games, we're getting an early version on Thursday. And then by Saturday, I'll change my mind about a lot of these places. Or not. I'll just repeat it. Falcons, Bucks. Neither team has anything to play for. Both teams are eliminated. Bucks are at home, 1-point favorite. Game total, been coming down a little bit. There are injuries to the Bucks at the wide receiver position to the point where they have almost nobody left to throw to. Maybe Godwin will come back this week, but like if you're the Bucks, are you forcing him back? I wouldn't. Right? Evans is gone. Julio Jones got a Q tag. There's a lot of veteran situations here that could wind up getting some rest. Julio tweaks the whatever's got him questionable. They're like, all right, you know what? Go take a seat. Godwin comes back, but yeah, he tweaks it. Go take a seat. There's so much risk in this game. Everything has to be contained to game stacks and teams. You can't fuck with these guys. Bashard Perriman's look really good out there in replacement of Mike Evans in that spot. He's looked very good. Another 12 targets last week, 20 points, 37. He's done great. Great. Totally playable. Watson, I played him in one of my season-long championship teams. I won it. Felt good. Getting a belt. Trophy. It's not a belt. That one's a trophy. I put him up on the wall. I love those fantasy football trophies. I put that shit on the wall. Like, dude, what's that? Yeah. I beat my buddies in a fantasy football league. I got a trophy. Hell yeah, it made the case. I don't have trophies from other things. Shit, hang on a second. You kidding me? I still have my trophy for placing third in the King of the Beach DraftKings go-karting challenge. That's right. I kept it. I don't throw it away. I'm like, yeah. Well, kids ask me, what's that? I'm like, well, I placed third in a go-kart racing championship. Oh, Dad, that's awesome. How many people were in it? 4. But that's not the point. It's not the point. I got a trophy. Display it. Justin Watson helped my team to a championship. He's fine. He's like a tight end. Never heard of him. All of a sudden, 10 targets last week. It's Winston. They're just going to be throwing, having fun out there. Watson in play. Absolutely. Gage in play. He's not old. He's a young guy. He's going to be out there the whole game. All good. All good. My only concern in this game, I'm not playing Devonta Freeman. He's priced up. It's ridiculous. But my only concern are these veterans and their Q tags. And you got to have a little concern for Winston and his little Q, and he's a limit. Now, Winston will be fine. I think actually I'm more concerned just Ryan being old and a vet, and there's no reason to play him in the last game of the season. Like I said, there's no reason not to play him, but they could see what they have with some young guy. We'll have to follow along very closely to get a better feel for the motivation as the week moves on. But again, my tendency in week 17 is to try to get at least into games where there is some motivation to play. Okay, Raiders, Broncos. I actually think there is some sort of crazy outside insane scenario where the Raiders can get into the playoffs. The Raiders. Who would have thought it? They need a lot of crazy shit to happen, but they'll be going all out. They need a lot of crazy shit to happen, though, for them to get in. Broncos are at home. Nothing to play for. You think the Broncos are going to go for a quarterback? They think they have Drew Lock. They want to see what they've got in him. I think they're going to play their guys. There's no reason to rest anyone. They're going to be all in on this game. There's just no reason for the Broncos not to have all of their guys out doing their thing. So this is an interesting game. The problem on the Raiders side is they don't know what I'm interested in. No players. There are no players on the Raiders that interest me. They're at the Broncos. Broncos are a good defensive team. What's the game total here? 40.5 points. It's not a good game total. I don't like it. It's not a good game total. 40.5 points. What the fuck is that? So I don't like that game total. Now, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. 49ers, Seattle, it's Sunday night. We don't have to worry about that game. But I'm going back to the Raiders Broncos. I'm just looking at my screen here, and yeah, that game was probably moved to the night game. So that's not part of the main slate because I don't remember breaking it down in my Geeks pick sheet. So I'm like, hey, did I miss one? No. But it's a tough spot. Tough spot for the Raiders. They're road underdogs. Neither team has much to play for. The Raiders do need the win, and a crazy scenario, they're going to go all in. But the Broncos hate their division rivals. They're going to play hard, A, to see what they have in Drew Lock, and B, to see if they could just, smash their division rival. They hate the fucking Raiders. The Broncos hate the Raiders. So here's the thing. There's nothing on the Raiders that really excites me ever any week. I just don't like playing any of the guys from that team. Certainly not their running back. I guess Dwayne Washington will be interesting. I can assume that Jacobs will be out again. So Dwayne Washington holds mild interest, but he's priced up. We got him for $4K last week. I love that, all in, right? We got him all in, and that worked. But now he's 5,200. Okay, it's not the greatest matchup in the world. That would be the only guy I'd have some interest in for the Raiders. And I don't think it's the best matchup. The Broncos defense is very, very good. It's just good. Run, pass. Broncos side holds some interest because the Raiders defensively have been very, very terrible. They've been a bad team. So defensively, so you could throw out pass on them. So, and Drew Lock, the Broncos want to see what they have in Lock. Lock, Courtland Sutton. I don't think Lock is good. I don't know. He's had a game or two that wasn't completely awful. That one game, I'm holding out hope. It's like when I was a hardcore Jets fan, and Mark Sanchez had like one good game for a whole season, and I was holding out hope. I was like, man, what if that game was Mark Sanchez, not the butt fumbling buffoon? But really, it was the butt fumbling buffoon. But I held out hope for a long time. And so if I'm a Broncos fan, or if I'm a DFS fan that wants to play players from the Broncos. I'm looking at, well, he did have one competent game. It wasn't terrible. But then you look and you go, oh my God, he got the softest matchup in the world, home against Detroit. And this is all you could do? Well, that's because they leaned on the run, because that's what you should do if you're a good coach. Young quarterback, you lean on the run. Why would you want to have him throw a million times? Just lean on the run. Give it to Philip Lindsay. Lindsay's good. Why wouldn't you just give it to Lindsay? They did give it to Lindsay. Lindsay did well. Oh, Lindsay was an all-play? Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was. We're all over Lindsay last week. It worked out. So will Locke throw? Will they give it to Lindsay? 25 completions, 33 attempts. He only managed one touchdown, 192 yards. It's not good. Not good against Detroit. So I don't trust you, Drew Lock, but I don't mind Courtland Sutton because he's gotten a lot of targets from this guy. And at 6,400, 10 targets, he should be able to get there. Like I said, it's sketchy, it's risky, it's GPP only. Whenever you got a bad quarterback throwing to a good wide receiver, there's risk. What if you can't deliver him the football? But he's the only guy in town for this team. So, it's interesting. Not something I'm going crazy on. Can't see myself at 6,400 pulling the trigger a lot, but maybe a couple times. Where am I? Oh, Domination Station. This is more something we'll talk about on the Players Club on Saturday. We'll get into the values and all of that. Not going to do that now. All right. Arizona Cardinals, LA Rams, 49-point total. Missing some props, missing some spreads. Don't know what's up. Why is this stuff missing? I don't know. Where my chart? I don't know. I don't know where it is. Where's the money line? I don't know. But what do we know? 49-point Cardinals, 7-point underdogs. Neither team has anything to play for here. Neither team has a reason not to play their guys, but nothing to play for. Rams, very good defense. The kind of defense I don't like targeting players against most of the time. I usually avoid anything to do with the Rams defense and going against them. Now, I did that a few weeks ago when they played Dallas, and Dallas smashed them. What the fuck is up with Dallas? How do you go from smashing the Rams to just getting your ass? I think it's the Dak shoulder injury. Sorry. Off on a tangent. Murray. Oh, this is why the game is off. Murray not participating, not sure he's going to play, contained to throwing. This is a problem. That's why. I forgot. Murray, not practicing, has some issues. There's concerns here. Okay? If Murray's out, Brett Hundley is not the best play. I mean, my man, he runs it. I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to like it. Hundley isn't the worst play if Murray sits this one out. Now, Hundley fucking sucks. So let's not go crazy. Let's not go crazy, guys. He sucks. But he runs with the football. He takes off. This is a tough defense, though. I mean, last week in just a few snaps, he ran 6 times. Like, he just runs for it. He just takes off. He is a good backup to Kyler Murray, because he does the same kind of thing. So I think a Brett Hundley out there will just destroy this Cardinals offense, but it doesn't mean that I don't think of Brett Hundley himself. I don't think a Brett Hundley himself can't reach value because he's out there scrambling around. He's like, he's a running quarterback. And these guys can always find their way to some miracle happening. Now, the thing is, though, this is at the Rams. The Rams have pride to play for. They have nothing to play for except for pride. But one thing about the Rams is they have smashed bad teams this year. At home, especially. Like, when they play a good team, they're terrible, the worst. Sometimes when they play a bad team or a mediocre team, they also look terrible. And on the road, they look terrible. But at home, they've been pretty decent. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but everybody on the Rams is playable. There's risk, but everybody on the Rams. The riskiest one for me is Todd Gurley. Like, this is a guy who they've been managing his snaps. Oh, we need him for the playoffs. Wait, hold up a second. Most of the season, this is the fucking hubris of the Rams. Most of the season, we're going to manage him. We're going to manage Todd Gurley. Snap count. Have him fresh for the playoffs. What playoffs? You talking about playoffs? What playoffs? What playoffs? You didn't make the fucking playoffs. Fucking hubris. Gotta make the playoffs. Then you worry about who you have for the playoffs. Talking about playoffs? That's my I can't remember. Harbaugh. I can't remember. Saints coach. Playoffs? What you talking about? Playoffs? What playoffs? But Gurley has knee issues all the time. He got problems. Injury. Do they play him in the 17th game of the season? The last game of the season? Nothing on the line? I don't know. But it's a great matchup if they do play him. He's priced pretty well for the matchup. Like he's nice. He's not priced up. The team is favored. It seems like they'll play their guys. So Gurley's interesting, but again, got to contain it. Flip side, Kenyan Drake. Hell no. I love Dreezy. Played him last week. Guys, last week I got you on Kenyan Drake, by the way, at 3% ownership. I know, fuck you, Geek. You said to play Deion Lewis when he was starting and he only got 9 points. I get it. It was never a great matchup. That was a value play. I didn't want to mention the Mixon one. Because how do I know about the shits? Like, what does that do? He has a stomach bug? If we start reacting to shit like that, we're going to have problems. So I just ignore it. I think the stomach bug did affect him. Lesson is play running backs at home. They're safer. Road game, shit gets weird. But you got Kenyan Drake last week at 3% ownership. You had Devonta Freeman as a core play or as an all play, 5 stars, 4 stars. There were a lot of great plays last week. Mixed in with some turds, but a lot of great plays. As always, every week. Fuck Mixon. So getting back to this one, Kenyan Drake, I love the Dreezy. I love this guy. But with a compromised / not going to play Kyler Murray, with a Rams defense that's excellent at stopping the run and pretty much everything and dominating opposition, I just don't want to go there. And the price is ridiculous at $7,100. So if you have Kenyan Drake on your dynasty team, celebrate. He's going to be great next year. But I think we got the last awesomeness out of him last week. Again, I rode the train. I've been on it. You guys know this. You've been with me this whole time. No one else was a believer. No one else believed in the Dreezy. Everybody talk about David Johnson. You heard it here. But this isn't the week for me for the Dreezy. At wide receiver, the usual suspects all in play. But I'm getting to something still here very important. But usual suspects in play for the Rams. Robert Woods, the best of the group. Cooper Kupp, sure, why not? I guess. Not seeing as much volume. And Brandon Cooks, GPP long shot. All of it. Same shit as always. Cooks and Reynolds have been splitting some time, which is why Cooks kind of has fallen off the radar. Nothing I'm interested here on the Cardinals side. Again, Rams defense is too good to fuck with. The one interesting spot here is the cheat code. Tight end versus Arizona. Higbee narrative. Man, they priced up Higbee quite a bit here, 5,600. It seems worth it, though. The guy has emerged. It's funny because at the beginning of the season, everybody's talking about Gerald Everett as the guy. Like, oh, he's going to be the pass catcher. But it turns out Higbee is a fucking beast. Look at this. 2020. This is the guy who's been winning. We got him for 2,500 the first week. Then we're like, I don't want to pay 4K. And 3,900 seems like a lot with Everett back. Nothing is stopping him. This is why Cooper Kupp hasn't done well, because Higbee is getting the Cooper Kupp targets. His rise and the fall of Cooper Kupp has been correlated. That's a shame, but it is what it is. So Higbee, now he gets the cheat code. Defense, going to be tough to ignore him. Going to be tough. Not my favorite tight end on the slate. I think it's going to be Goddard because he's forced to be thrown to, but Higbee is in the mix. We got anything left? Was that it? Was that it? That was it for the main slate, guys. We're not going to deal with the Sunday night game here. We'll deal with that separately as a standalone video. I'll do an hour on it for DFS Army VIPs. Where my turds at? That's a showdown. So that takes care of the main slate. Week 17, we understand the motivations of every team. I wrote it in my notes, guys, so that when you forget what we talked about, you could just go back. Slate notes. I don't normally put slate notes. Maybe I like to put slate notes in. Maybe I'll do it next year. It's an interesting move. Slate notes. I added it in. I figured it out on week 17. Sorry. Because there were important things I wanted to keep referencing. Who's got what to play for? So I'm going to keep referencing it. I'm also going to hammer it in all of my content that has something to play for. Every discussion of every player. Oh, they have nothing to play for. They have something to play. We're going to make sure you're aware. So that you don't start playing fucking people from the Vikings. Well, what? I didn't know. I told you. What do you mean you didn't know? So I'm going to break that down. Last notes. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. We have content coming out every day. First of all, I'll be back all off. We're still covering the playoffs. We're not going anywhere. There's multiple more weeks of NFL DFS left for us. This week is an awesome week. I love week 17. Don't play it light. I'm going all in. I don't have that many weeks left. And then the playoffs. I love the playoff slates. We get every weekend. We have for the first 2 weekends, 2 full 3-game slates to play. That's a mass multi-entry special. We're going to load up lots of MME. 2 weeks in a row. Then we'll get the third week. We'll get just good slates. 4-gamer. I don't like 2-game slates, but we'll go to the little 2-game slates, 4-game slates. We got a lot to go. And then, of course, the Super Bowl showdown, baby. So we got a lot of football left to play. But NBA season going strong. 59% win rate on DraftKings. That's not bad. That's not bad. You might be like, well, everybody does that. 67% win rate on FanDuel. What? If I was a tout selling picks and I had a 67% win rate against the spread, I would be charging $1,000 to $2,000 a month per person. Just letting you know what you have access to as a DFS Army VIP. Use it. All right. That's it for this week, guys. Good luck. If you're not a DFS Army VIP, go to dfsarmy.com, get signed up. Use promo code Geek, get 20% off. Let's kick ass this week, guys. I'll be back with the Players Club on Saturday. Take care.